What is happening, beautiful people of the YouTubes? Appreciate you guys for being here with us.
Yeah.
Nice little stream here before, and maybe it'll go in, as well when the national championship game is on, which starts. When does that start? Is that in about an hour from now? National championship game is on. So we might go through it. It depends, but I assume a lot of you guys are going to be watching that. So little stream here to start off the week, and just going to give people who have signed up for their team playbooks. We're going to review their teams. So appreciate you guys for being here with us. What is up, Joshua in the building? Appreciate you for being here. What's up, Keith? Chef is in the building. Jordan says, don't think I've ever managed to catch a stream before it started. Welcome in, my friend. Scribbles, what's up?
How we feeling? Yeah, how we feeling?
Charlie, what's up? He says, Badaki's back, baby. You love to see it. Yeah, the people wondering what, did you get a haircut? The people were wondering. They're following the trim. Was there a trim in the cards? Was it a cut?
I mean, I've been had a cut or a trim.
Yeah,
that's been like nearly a month now. I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we here. By the way,
yeah. What's up, Dylan?
I know we changed the Nvidia thing. Looks even worse on stream.
Does it?
I will look on stream. You tell me if this looks good or better. This is with the new change.
Yeah.
Real quick side note. I can show you what it normally looks like. I'm gonna turn it off and turn it back on.
That looks worse.
And
to
this
me.
is. But the other one didn't even look clear.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Anyways.
I'm not sure. What's up, Scribbles in the building? Appreciate you being here. Wyatt, what's up?
How we feeling?
What's up, Dylan? Dylan says, two Dylans actually here, says James Fowler thinks NFL teams will move up for Jaden Higgins. Yeah, let's see. It's a possibility. What's up, Dale? Wyatt says, got my first share of Jalen Coker. You inspired me. Sent Ray Davis to the Cook owner. I like that a lot. Joel says, what do you think about the Tyreek Hill social media drama? I love it. Anytime there's any reason for us to speculate on NFL content, I love, that we have a chance to do that. Yeah, I mean, what was the latest thing he did today? What did he do today? It was, I
think he just tweeted the peace sign, if I'm not mistaken.
Peace sign, yeah. So that's obviously got people up in arms, and they want to know what's happening, right? So... yeah, who knows? I actually wanted to talk about, just quickly, I was doing some research for a video last night, and this was really shocking to me. But Aki, don't look at the screen yet, okay? I want you to cover your eyes, and I want you to guess. I just want you to guess, okay? Who do you think is top 5 in running back visits this offseason pre-NFL draft, all right? So NFL teams, all NFL teams, who would be in your top 5 for running back visits? Give me some names here. Who would you say is the names? What do you think? Let me know.
I can right off the bat probably the Cowboys.
Okay, Cowboys. You said Cowboys, Bears.
The Broncos.
The
Steelers. The Chargers, maybe.
Okay, Chargers. That was your 5. So you said Chargers, Cowboys, Broncos, Steelers, Bears. All right, so this is what I found really surprising myself, okay? So if you'll notice, you got the 3 of the top 3 you got there. Cowboys, Steelers, Broncos, overwhelmingly, like 11 running backs they brought in so far, the Cowboys. The Steelers were at 9. The Broncos were at 8. You see who's sitting there at 4? The Texans. The Texans brought in 5 running backs so far, and those visits haven't stopped yet, by the way. But they've brought in 5 running backs so far. I do know that one of them was Amarion Hampton. And okay. I know that one of them... Let me double check. So Amarion Hampton was one of them. Let me see.
So Houston's at 25, pick 25 right now. So you're telling me Amarion is either gonna go...
Here's the guys they brought in, sorry. Jaden Blue, Amarion Hampton, Jarquez Hunter, Quinshon Judkins, Brashard Smith. The 2 names that really turned my eye was Amarion Hampton and Quinshon Judkins. The fact that they brought them in for top 30 visits, which, by the way, could mean nothing. but it's more the pure volume. Like they are fourth amongst all NFL teams for bringing in running backs. I just thought that was interesting. I'm not going to sit here and make a projection off of top 30 visits. That would be silly. But I just thought it was an interesting conversation to have. I mean, could they be looking towards the future earlier than we really think that they maybe originally intended to? The Brashard Smith visit I loved because I thought he would actually be a perfect complement to Joe Mixon. But anyway, I thought that was interesting.
No, I think it's good. I think it just really depends on where they take one of these guys. But I know, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Mixon does have an out next year.
Yeah.
So just all depends on how they're picturing that.
The Dynasty flock himself, Mr. Mason Dodds, in the building, and he says the 2017 running backs will be a fade for me this year. That's that historic class where,
oh boy,
let's go back and look at this class real quick. This is where Dalvin Cook came from, if I'm not mistaken.
I agree.
Leonard Fournette came out of this class. Christian McCaffrey, Chris Carson, Aaron Jones, a lot of legends in this class. Let me see if Wikipedia is going to help me out here. Okay, yes. So I have a quick little geese here of all those 2017 guys. Remember, guys, this class was just historically great. So we had, yes, Leonard Fournette in the first round, CMC in the first round. We had Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon in round 2, then Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Foreman, James Conner. You know, you go further back, Marlon Mack, shout out to him. Aaron Jones was in this class, and then Chris Carson. What a historic draft class. So we'll see. Time comes for all man, but yeah, this is going to be a fun draft for this running back class, and I am expecting big things. Whether that's realistic or not, or whether my expectations are too high, I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. Be a friend on today's stream. Go ahead and smash that like button. Got a like goal today of 50 likes. With your help, I know we can get there. Again, small little stream for today, trying to get people their team playbooks, to start the week. Tomorrow we will be doing full-on balls deep into some Origin drafting some real rookie drafts with you guys. Very excited about it, and looking forward for you guys to be there. We've had so much great feedback from that. You guys are very excited about the Origins tournament, and it's been fun to draft with you. But let's get to some trade questions to start off today. We have a ton of trade questions that were submitted, and I will just say that at the moment we do have 2 spots for a same-day live review. I know you guys are obsessed with those same-day live reviews. So if you're out there and you want your team reviewed on the same day, then you can get your team playbook by becoming an annual Mother Flocker member. Our playbook is a customized game plan for your offseason. All right, you'll get this graphic after we do your live review. But again, become a promo code LAND, annual Mother Flocker member. You'll use that voucher that you get through the Flock store. It'll make an offline review completely free, or a live review just a $7 upgrade. Appreciate you guys for showing so much love this offseason. We have felt the love. We have felt the support. You guys are keeping the lights on here. And the amount of people who keep coming back for these playbooks is very encouraging. I sent the wrong link, my bad. Very encouraging to see. You guys clearly are enjoying the product, and we've got a lot of cool things in the pipeline for you as well. So you can check out the pinned comment if you want to sign up. And by the way, if you are a member on a different promo code, let's say you use code FLOCK, for example, then you can still go through that same process through the Flock store, a la carte. You can buy one, but it'll just be a la carte, right? So you won't actually have like a voucher or anything. Hopefully that makes sense. But yes, that is true. Old running backs did crush last year. I think this could be a reset as well. I mean, I got Derrick Henry in the Flock League. Mason got James Conner. I also got Joe Mixon in the Flock League. These older guys just really...
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Aaron Jones was a great pick. These guys really dominated for us last year, which was awesome. But all right. So today's stream is really built around helping these people who support us. Let's start with some trade questions. There's quite a few on the site, which is awesome. Chef Keith in the building. And this is a Superflex 12-team start 9. And it looks like they are asking if they should send away Justin Herbert for the 105, Trevor Lawrence, and Isaac Horrendo.
Right.
How do you feel about this? I kind of like this. I obviously need to look at the team real quick, but overall, I do like this idea of sending away Herbert and I think we talked about his team before, trying
Yeah, we did.
To do like a 1-year punt and kind of maximize assets for the future. So I'm definitely open to a deal like this. How about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to it. I think it's one of the trades, if I remember correctly, around there, the similar structure, trying to tear down to get some more value, to help your running back room and wide receiver room, because this is, 2 quarterbacks star 9. So I'm okay with that.
Yep. All right. So we like this deal a lot. Again, I'm pretty sure we put you into a 1-year punt or a rebuild, and that is a good example of tearing down from Justin and, still getting a quarterback with plenty of upside. Maybe not plenty of upside, but I think you are better off with those assets right now in a rebuild. But I think it's close as well, I would have to say. Skyro, what's up, man? Appreciate the trade question here on the Flock site. It says waffle stacked. Me no depth, but need Allen upside, question mark. Okay, so they're sending away Herbert, the 104, in a second. A lot of people send away Justin Herbert right now. And they get back Josh Allen and Alvin Kamara. So a 12-team start 10. And the question is, do you want to tier up to Josh Allen at this price? And it looks like their team, they might have already done this trade.
I think they did.
I don't see Justin Herbert in either of the teams highlighted. No, maybe they haven't yet. I don't know.
I don't see Justin Herbert at all. Justin Herbert's on Like a Good Neighbor.
Is he? Okay.
Team 9.
Okay, so Justin Herbert's there. Might be the wrong team that it linked for some reason, but
yeah, because that's Justin Herbert, and that team has the 104.
Okay, so the 104 in Herbert is what you'd be sending away. Do you feel like this team is prepared to take on this type of deal? So you get, in this scenario, you get Josh Allen, which is fantastic. But then you've got Allen Lawrence. You're relying on Hubbard and Kamara for your future. You have no other first-round pick this year.
Yeah, you can't do this because your running back room is weak. So you lose that 104. You're not going to have an RB2 to start. Your wide receiver room in a start 10 is just on the edge of not having enough, depending on how you feel about George Pickens there in the start 10. I personally will be keeping it.
That's tough because this is pretty affordable for Josh Allen, though. The 104 and Justin Herbert's pretty affordable. I would be open to this if you think you could then tear down from Josh yourself and get a bigger haul than this. For example, if you could do this deal and then turn Josh Allen into Bo Nix in a future first or like a top 6 pick in this year's class, and something else, maybe another first on top of that, I think I'd be willing to do it. So overall, I think it's good value, but I don't think it really benefits your team whatsoever. TL Montez here, and in this scenario, they would be sending away Jamar Chase to get back Achane and Brian Thomas in a 10-team start 9 Superflex. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and say they have enough in a 10-team start 9. As crazy as it sounds, I just think they already have enough to hold because they're about to add Ashton Genty. Their starting lineup is going to be Burrow, May, or any of these other guys. Then it's going to be Bucky, Genty, Chase, McConkey, and Njoku. And then you can only start 2 other names, which would be Marvin and AJ, or James Conner, or Chase Brown. I might lean towards keeping Jamar Chase here, but I actually want to console the chat on this one. What does the chat think? Do we want the Chase side or the Achane Thomas package? To start 9, smaller lineup in Superflex, 10-team.
I think either way is a win-win. You keep Chase, you have the number 1 wide receiver. But Brian Thomas, especially like his trajectory, I'm happy to keep him, and you get another running back. But
I think in most leagues I would probably go Achane Thomas, but in a smaller league, it's tougher to give up Chase there. Liam says it's Chase. Joshua says Chase. Elias says Chase. But we got 3 other people here with Wyatt, Walren, and Charlie who are saying the package. So it really is a true 50-50. Look, this is not a bad offer whatsoever. It's just difficult that it's not... Look, I'm not going to say like it's not really achieving anything for this roster. But if you were to do this, let's just play out this hypothetical scenario. If you were to accept this trade, okay, think about the amount of decisions you have to make on a weekly basis after making this type of deal. Okay, because again, you're starting Burrow, May, then you would have Genty, HN, Bucky, and you can't start one of those guys in your running back spot. You can start them in your flex. Then you wouldn't have Chase anymore. You have Brian Thomas, Lab McConkey, and Joku, and then you can still only start 2 other names between Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, Marvin Harrison, AJ Brown. It's good to have that kind of depth, but I also want that top end talent. So, man, it's close, but I think I lean Chase, but I don't mind if you go either way here. I think it's a true win-win.
Yeah, I think so as well.
All right, A. Hayes is our
Win-win.
next trade question here. By the way, guys, if you want to submit a trade question through the website, feel free. You can actually use that same link that is in the pinned comment right now. It's the same one to submit a team playbook. And again, we do have 2 spots for a same-day review on these team playbooks today. 2 spots only on today's stream. A. Hayes says, I have the 105, 106, 109. My tight end at the moment is Pitts. There's no tight end premium. So he is sending away Garrett Wilson and Zach Ertz to buy Laporta and Evans. In a non-premium, I'm probably keeping Garrett here, but I want to hear your thoughts.
I agree. I'm keeping Garrett Wilson. Yeah, in a non-tight end premium, that's not that the tight end doesn't matter, but if it's not Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, then I'd rather just keep Garrett Wilson because I still believe he can take off, and he's reuniting with Justin Fields here, whether you're a Justin Fields believer or not.
And you might as well use the 109 and target a tight end in this draft anyway. You might as well target a Loveland or a Warren at the 109 instead of, using Garrett Wilson here to address the tight end position when you don't really have... Like, if you lose Garrett Wilson, I'm much more concerned about your wide receiver room than I am your tight end room.
Yeah.
With McMillan as your 4, right? As much as I love Jalen. So, yeah.
Maybe he's thinking vice versa. Like, he'd rather have Sam Laporta, and he will just build in the wide receiver room with, like, Luther.
I guess it's fair. Like, he would add Mike Evans to his team. But I think the strength of this class, it's important to note that tight ends, you should be able to grab a pretty good one in a non-tight end premium there at the 109.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I completely agree.
So yeah, we're gonna lean the Wilson package there still. We're gonna get to Stranzi and El Borge's team reviews today, but a couple more trade questions here. First one from C-Town Mafia. Looks like they are gonna send away James Cook and T. Higgins for the 106 Worthy and Kirk. I guess this really comes down to how do you perceive Xavier Worthy. So the way I view this is I want T. Higgins over the 106. And then I guess you have to ask the question, or it's even at minimum. And then you have to ask the question, James Cook or Xavier Worthy. I prefer James Cook, but it's very close. What do you think?
I think it's an even trade for me personally. I think there's a lot of people that are scared about James Cook and everything that's coming out in the media. Yeah. Maybe this team is going to be a team that's going to be taking, that's going to be bringing somebody else. So
it's funny you mentioned that because I was looking at the Bills and the amount of running backs they brought in as well. And it was only one for a top 30 visit so far. So I found that comforting. And I also think they like Ray Davis a lot. So I don't think they're going to force that position.
I think so as well.
Even though it's a deep class, like they might go someone like day 3 or something, is the way I'm viewing it.
My thought process here is more on the Xavier Worthy side because you saw in the second half of the season when Hollywood Brown, not second half, but the couple playoff games where Hollywood Brown did come in, I guess hypothetically was playing that, that Richie Rich role. Xavier Worthy was getting a lot more opportunities. We're seeing a lot more of those balls targeted to him. So is that going to be the same case with Rashee Rice? Obviously, there's 2 different conversations because Rashee Rice and Hollywood are 2 different players. Rashee Rice may demand more targets over Hollywood on the field. But the fact that we saw a nice little glimpse of Xavier Worthy be successful, I think is interesting. Especially if Rashee Rice is going to be suspended. However many games does he establish himself?
By the way, there is a strong case that he might not be suspended.
He might not even get suspended. I've read that. So I think there's a very interesting narrative here with Xavier Worthy, even though I'm not a massive believer that he can be the one. But in the world that we're living on, in the world that we live in here that I'm bringing up, if Rashee Rice is suspended for 4 games, Xavier Worthy has an opportunity to establish himself in the beginning of the season and then be like, you know what, I'm actually the number 1 guy, even though I completely doubt that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Just bringing up the hypothetical.
I'm going to stick with the Cook-Higgins package here, but it's very close. I am not as high on Worthy as the community is. I view him more as a Zay Flowers best case scenario type of asset than I do a budding JSN type of asset, if that makes sense. So one more question here for today, at least right now in the queue, from Jay Hosier. What's up, brother? It looks like he used his free trade question from his annual membership. It looks like he's sending away Stroud and McBride, and he's getting back Drake May, a second, and Evan Ingram. This feels like selling pretty low on this pair here. And I love me some Drake May, but this feels like a really affordable Trey McBride. I don't think I would sell Trey McBride this low right now. I mean, it says I have him 36 overall, but I think he could be much higher than 36 overall in my overall rankings. Sorry.
I completely agree. Contract extension as well. I feel like that can vet you even more opportunity. Highest paying tight end right now, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFL.
Yep.
Obviously, you think of Brock Bowers the next 4 years. I actually don't know if there's going to be anyone that's going to get paid more than him until Brock Bowers, unless somebody emerges. I think you can have an argument of Sam Laporta, but like he might have it for the next couple years.
Yeah.
So I would just keep McBride. That value is just, like Scribble said, McBride is too valuable right now.
Yeah, I had to go update my overall rankings because McBride was too low after that extension. But, I mean, I kind of view him in the same light, value-wise, as like a Marvin Harrison, Lad McConkey, JSN. I kind of think that's around where I'd value him after this type
Jordan
of contract.
says only. So I'm assuming here Jay Hoser. Okay, he says almost exclusively in tight end Premier Leagues. So that threw me off of value vice. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm glad we were able to help you. Feel confident in your decision here. But I would say, I would. I mean, there's at least a first round value of missing. How do I say this properly? Shout out to English Clash. There's at least a value of a first round pick missing, I'd say, right? So we're going to heavily lean Stroud and McBride here. All right, let's get to our first team review, which is Shanzi. Appreciate you, Shanzi. And appreciate all of you guys being in the chat with us. I see you, Landon, LB, George. We're going to get to your team review here in a second as well. Jordan says, just realized that second should be a 26 first. I don't know what happened there. That's happening often, which is strange, isn't it? So that's a 26 first. Yeah, that's not going to change much for me. I'm still going to go Stroud and McBride. I'm not a big fan of this 26 class right now. Rioza says, guys, I'd watch you guys as talking heads all day, but I wanted to say the editing on today's video was really good. I appreciate that, man.
That's awesome.
Kind of here. We did just hire a new video editor, and we love the guy, honestly. I mean, we've only known him for about a month now, but yeah, I'd say a friendly love. Like it's exciting getting to know someone new. It's almost like a relationship. You're like, oh, you get the butterflies, and you get to talk ideas, and you get to talk, what the future looks like and how to, really unfold all the content for the viewer. And very exciting. These last two videos have been our new guy, and we love him. He's great. And
yeah, he's awesome.
Excited for what this next year can look like with him. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Shanzi.
Yes. Again, be a friend. Smash that like button. Like all today's 50 likes. We're almost halfway there. Appreciate y'all for showing some love on today's stream. We are going to get into some team reviews here. And you can check out the pinned comment if you want to submit a team review for today. We have 2 spots today for a same-day live review. If you want, you can check out the pinned comment. You can become an annual Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAN. You'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Or if you're a member on a different promo code, then you can still go to the Flock store, which you'll see here on the bottom of the top right. It says personal advice there. On a lot of these tabs you'll see at the bottom right as well. It'll say personal advice, and that's where you can choose land, fantasy land, and get your team playbook as well. All right, let's go. Let's start here with Shanzi. We'll try and keep up with the chat, but we want to make sure these people who are supporting us get their time to shine as well. So yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you, Shanzi. This is a 2 quarterback, 14 team start 9. I think this is the first 14 team we ever had. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're going to continue to put this in the meat. Since we started. So this is a meat and potatoes technically.
Yep. Still meat and potatoes, but though that depth is going to matter a little bit more because you've got less, depth on these 14 teamers. But
yeah, so we'll have a look at this team here, and he says, let's read this context. So this league is headed into year 2, and I think it's pretty vulnerable as a 14-team superflex. 14-team superflex in which not a lot of teams have depth. I've headed into the 2025 season with good quarterbacks, good wide receivers, and good draft capital. Are there any moves you would try to make? This is a league that doesn't seem to value picks / rookies.
Okay, so we can maybe take advantage of that. He's currently ranked 5th overall, by the way, in my rankings.
Let's have a look at this team.
And I'm just going to quickly copy his draft capital over to the chalkboard, but go ahead and take us away whenever.
Yeah, and Shanzi, let us know if you are here live with us. If not, that's totally okay. You will be receiving a link with the time code where we started your team review here. Drake May, Kyler Murray, good quarterback room, the depth, right? Where's that QB3? I think the guys like the Staffords, the guys like the Dak Prescotts, the Anthony Richardsons, the Derek Carrs are going to be really valuable to you if one of these guys do go down and miss some time, but that's okay. At the running back position, Ramondre Stevenson, Rico Down, really nobody else, but phenomenal draft capital in a year where there's a lot of running backs available here. You can start up to 4 wide receivers. Here you're starting 4. Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore with Jalen Coker, Troy Franklin on the bench with Jake Ferguson, Mike Gesicki as your tight end. You have the 106, 107, 109, and you still have your 26 first here.
Yeah, we're really going to need to convert that draft capital with this running back room currently, how it's constructed, But think about your starting lineup right now would be May, Murray, Stevenson, I guess Dowdle, Higgins, Rice, Ferguson, Odunze, Moore. It's a pretty good. Well, the running back room is rough, but you have no depth. We really need to convert these picks into players. And I'll say this, a team like this where I imagine us getting like a Judkins, Henderson, and then adding like an Igbuka, Burden, Warren, Colston, something like that. I do think there's a scenario where we definitely can compete this year with all these names. And I wouldn't be 100% opposed to in season flipping my 26 first if I see a real chance to compete, but I'm not going to suggest that right here, right now. Just wanted to say for the future. As far as untouchables, I really don't think you have any.
No, you don't have any.
Respectfully, I don't think you have a single untouchable. I would move any player on this team if the right package was to be presented. I do think you have quite a few holds I really like. For example, the Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, Jalen Coker combo. I think we can add Ray Davis to that list right now with the whole conversations going on in
Sweet
Buffalo.
Rays. Ooh,
as far as drops, look, there's not really a name that I think I would say you need to drop, but Elijah Moore comes to mind. Jalen Polk comes to mind. These are all droppable names. On your waiver wire, I would definitely prioritize picking up a couple of these names like Elijah Mitchell, Miles Sanders, De'Ami Brown, Parker Washington, AJ Barner, Michael Mayer. These type of names are all guys that you can definitely consider picking up. Now, overall team grade, I'm going to lean, the draft capital is pretty decent. Let's go ahead and say A- on that draft capital. But overall team grade, considering the capital and everything that's currently constructed, I probably lean I got to keep in mind, it's a 14-team league, right? So in a 12-team, this would probably be a C+. But
I think this is...
in a 14, I think it's probably B-.
Yeah, I think what he has right now, specifically at the wide receiver room, is more than good enough with the draft capital that you do have to go in, right? Let's just say you get running backs in the next 3 picks that you have.
Yeah.
You are a contending team after those picks,
Yeah.
even with the tight end position still in question. Jake Ferguson can still pick up his role there. Mike Gesicki gets that contract extension, so very interesting.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think you can compete given the right outcomes here in the draft. But as far as a pathway, I'm between sleeper and contender here.
I'm sleeper.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
Because
You're a little
sleeper
bit
is
more of a
about making
sneaky guy.
moves. Yeah, you got to make a couple moves in before you're truly a contender. Which, once again, like I just said, get Quinshawn, get Travion at the 106, 107. You have Ramondre Stevenson hypothetically as still the backup, the running back there as the RB3.
Yeah.
You can still get some good capital at that 109. So I think you can definitely move into a sleeper, a contender, probably in the middle of the season.
All right, we got all admin out of the way.
All admin out of the way.
Let's go to the chalkboard, and this is great because this is kind of your protein of this build. And you mentioned that you mentioned that you know these picks are more valuable in the draft than they are in a trade, so we'll consider that here. But you know, I don't think it's safe to say McMillan isn't going to fall to the 106 or in that area anymore. Like, I really think, and this is what I've been saying since February. Remember, I made that video telling you to tear down from the 102. Do you remember that in my trade video?
Mm-hmm.
And I suggested everyone to tear down from the 102. A lot of people said, I'm not doing that. Tet McMillan's elite. Okay. And at that time, to question Tet McMillan, it was a little bit like, okay, you want to be different. When in reality, it was just how I felt that the 102 was just this huge tier of like 7 players that were worthy of being there. The Hamptons, McMillans, Burdens, Hendersons, Judkins, Johnsons, Ward. You know, I think all these names, I still feel the same way today, are worthy. And depending on how the draft capital goes, you know, any one of these guys could be available there. I think, obviously, we would all agree, in an ideal world, he's targeting some of these running backs if they're the best player available on the board, correct? Like Hampton, Henderson, Judkins. I will also say that in your league, a 14-team league, if Cam Ward is there and he truly is the number 1 overall pick, it's a no-brainer.
You have to go for him. That's what I was gonna say. I actually think it can be for Cam and potentially Shador as well, depending on how far they fall or where they do go.
If he's a
I think
first-round
both of those guys, 100%. If he's a first-round pick in the top 3 picks, I think I'm not saying you have to put in the same light as Cam Ward, but I think there are similar like things you have to consider if both of those guys are available or one of those guys are available.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to absolutely agree with you. And I also am going to add Emeka Egbuka to this list as well. I think he's just as worthy. Even Travis Hunter, I think, as crazy as it sounds, I think he's worthy of being in this conversation as well. So it's just this massive tier of players that I could see going this high. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players I see worthy of the 102. All the way down, I guess. What is that? To the 112? Maybe my tier is bigger than I think it is. I don't know. So all those guys are options, and I think in an ideal world, you're probably targeting 3 running backs or 1 running back, 1 quarterback. You know, maybe if a wide receiver is the best available, you know, player, of course you don't force it. You can go best player available there, but I think those are your main targets there. Like if you walked away, let's say he walked away with Henderson, Judkins, and Ward. I think you and I would be like, perfect draft. You executed that perfectly.
100%.
You know? So that's definitely, you know, a realistic possibility, I think, in your situation. You can also consider, you know, the Arroyos at the 209, the RJ Harveys, the Jalen Royals, Trey Harris, Iowa State boys. You can look at you know, an upside tight end or another flex at that wide receiver spot. And then, of course, in these third rounds, we have no idea, right? We just truly don't know what the value of these players will be just yet. I don't know if we really waste our time exploring trading these picks if people don't value them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm not necessarily sure if there's a way to get value in any way because of where not that you have middle of the pack players, but people that we kind of recommend buying now.
Yeah.
Right? You have the T. Higgins, Rasheed Rice, the Roma Dunzes. I think the only downside to your wide receiver room is that you have both Bears. But at the same time, that's not a killer.
Yeah. It's not ideal, but you're right. Not a killer.
Yeah.
Certainly you wouldn't say ideal, but in a league like this, as crazy as it is to say, I'm not really opposed to tearing down from a May, even though he hasn't broken out yet. But just, if we were able to get a Purdy in something, I really don't think I would be opposed to that in this sort of league, a 14-team league. Any thoughts on that?
No. I think I'm probably not Purdy for me. I don't know if I said this. I've been thinking, but like, I'm a little bit worried about the 49ers and Brock Purdy and how they're going. I feel like they're going to do a full rebuild. He struggled last year. We saw that often. I feel like that's going to continue. But have you
seen the reports that they are planning on extending him though?
Yes, I have seen that.
Okay.
Which is totally fine. I just think the pieces around him are not at that level anymore.
Okay.
Where he like kind of broke out, but I do like the tier down option is basically what I'm trying to get back to.
I think Stevenson is your most obvious trade away. We've been telling people for a while now, hey, if you can get, any second really, I would say kind of like that 206 to 212 range is perfect. But I do want to explore a tear down from May myself, and I do like the idea of Purdy. I think that's where you can get a lot of meat for your tear down, if that makes sense. For example, like a Purdy, the 114 is not that attractive, but this guy's really got nothing, does he? It would have to be like Purdy, the 114, and a future first.
Yeah,
that's really the 201. Maybe that future first is a 2027 pick. I don't know.
What about McCarthy?
Yeah, I like that. And by the way, I've never told someone to tear down from May this entire offseason. I think this team in particular is just very unique. McCarthy Wilson's easy, but you're not getting that done.
No.
It'd have to be like McCarthy. Oh, Flowers. Ugh, gosh. Yeah, this isn't ideal.
I think that's better than the one. That's better than the one Purdy in the 114, or in the maybe. I guess you can put JJ in the future first in the same boat. So like, why don't we just do that again? I think that can be replicated.
113 in a future first.
Yeah.
Sure. Haven't really found like a deal I like yet. Let's go to Joe's Daddy and Finger Bang Guns.
Whoa.
They don't really have an option here to tear down. So let me just find a team that we can actually tear down with that already has a couple quarterbacks. For example, Penix, Goff, Prescott.
Yeah, Dak.
This is tough though, because again, man, there's just no in between assets really.
Who has the best quarterbacks here? Jane Dennis, Patrick Mahomes. So maybe we need to look at who has the best wide receivers and do the opposite. So like Joe's daddy, what about like Baker Mayfield and then like JSN or something?
The issue with the big guy, though, guys, they have one quarterback in a super flex. There's not really a reason for them to tear up.
Yeah, that's fair. Dak, Bo Nix, Tua.
Yeah, your league is actually going to restrict you from doing a move like this, I think, for the most part.
Maybe it's even more of a value for you to draft one of those guys, the Cam Wards and the Shador Sanders, in a league like this.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, what does he have? The 209? What about like a Stroud move, like a Drake May, CJ Stroud plus the 105, and then we send back the 209 and the 212? That's probably asking too much. There's no harm in sending it, but that's probably asking too much. I don't think most people are going to do that. The Penix Goff Prescott guy is ideal, but there's no wiggle room in this deal. Well, we could try and do like May for Penix plus. I mean, what is the plus though? I mean, can we grab a Monra somehow? Is there a way that we can grab a Monra if we went May and what, like the 109 maybe?
Well, yeah, I know you said you wouldn't mind trading that 26 first, so we then use the 26 first if we're going to get guaranteed. Like a superstar.
No,
like
I actually don't.
Monra.
I don't mind that at all. Drake May and a 26 first for Penix and a Monra. The other thing we could do is we can move off of DJ. As much as I think he's a really good buy, you could pretty easily move off DJ there naturally.
Yeah, and then keep your first still, give you the flexibility for the future.
I don't know if I like that though. I'm not sure I like that. It does make sense. It does make sense. I mean, can we add...
I feel like maybe you do that. You can do that trade, and you kind of have to know that you're going to lock in Cam or Shador. I feel like I'm doing that if I know I'm going to get one of those guys.
What if we added like the 201 to our side, and then we... we let that ride. I would try that. Is there any team that you would say needs Stevenson? Let's try and find a team that is competing that has no running back strength. Mudcatch is one team that could work here. Like, for example, could you get the 201 here? Which, remember, these numbers need to go a little higher because it's a 14 team. So it's more like the 206 to the 210 at worst. So he has the 201 in play, right? Which is actually the 203 in a 12-team format. Now, can you send him your 212 and Stevenson for that 201? Can you add on to that his 309 or something? That is an idea. I think that could work for a team like this. You've also got JoJo, your boat, who has the 203. That could be perfect.
Yeah, that works.
Because remember, that is really the 205, and we can also send him back like the 308. I mean, I would even send back the 308 and the 313 if you need to, but you can figure out if there is some happy medium there where, you guys can agree on a deal. A lot of people replied to my tweet where I talked about buy lows, and they talked about Ramondre Stevenson, so there are plenty of people out there who view him in that light. Weston's Weird Obsession has a 206, so that's perfect. It's more direct pick there, 206, which becomes a 208. He also has the 208, which becomes a 210. I think we both do either of those.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Outside of that, Sean, there's not really many players I want to sell. I think DJ Moore is more of a buy than a sell.
I
Same
agree.
With the Dunze, Rice. Higgins you could sell, but if you're going to compete, you might as well compete with him.
Yeah. I agree. I think, Sean, you're in the right position. You have enough depth here. You have enough draft capital. Or not depth, but you have enough draft capital to get yourself into a good position to use these other guys to better your team here. But
yeah.
No, it's good. It's a good team. You should be receiving your playbook within 48 to 72 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message system. But as always, man, let us know if you have any last minute questions. I know you're probably not live with us, but in the Flock Fantasy Message system, man.
Yeah. Appreciate you big time, my friend. So we're going to go ahead and move on to what could be our last review of the night. Just a heads up, guys, there is no pressure from us at all because we've got a lot of prep to do for this upcoming week, but we do have 2 spots available for a same day review for these team playbooks, which is customized game plan for your offseason. So if you get the live version, you'll get this graphic afterwards, as well as a little bonus for our live submissions. You can become a LAN annual Mother Flock. Remember, it'll give you a voucher that you can use to the Flock store, which makes the offline playbook free. The live version is just a $7 upgrade. I know it says 10, it's $7 for members. But if you're not a member with us, let's say you're on promo code FLOCK, for example, you can still get a team playbook from us You just have to go through the flock store the same way as someone with a voucher would. You just don't have a voucher. Okay, so again, 2 spots remaining. This could be the last review of the day here from LB Jorge. And if you're watching this later, it's a great time to submit because the queue is going to be freed up here from over the weekend. What's up, JCM? Welcome in.
How you doing, brother?
Appreciate y'all for being here with us. And yeah, let's get into this next review here with is Landon with us?
LB Jorge.
I'm pretty sure this is Landon's team. Yeah, is Landon with us?
Yeah, I think he was here with us earlier. Let us know if you're still here, but I'll go ahead and start reading this context. And if you are here, please jump in at any point in time
Yes, sir.
when anything. Okay, awesome. This is a 2 quarterback 12 team start 11. So this is a rolling deep and a 0.5 tight end premium here. So let's have a look.
Yeah, big boy lineup here.
Yeah, I plan on rebuilding this and obviously rebuilding this and started the process recently. I think I made a quick questionable trade where I traded Rome Odunze and Reed for Shakira Higgins in a third. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't have done that trade.
Traded Rome and Reed. Reed and Shakir cancel out for me. So it's Rome for Higgins in a third. I mean, that's pretty like.
I think if you're going to the rebuild, I would have kept Rome.
Yeah, on a rebuild, I would have kept Rome for sure. I hear you.
Yeah. After that, I thought I better get a review. All right, Landon, we appreciate you. You're currently ranked 8th out of 12 according to Zach's rankings here, and let's have a look at this team.
But I will just say quickly that no team is really like dominating. There's a lot of, this is a very even league from a value perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely understand. At the quarterback position, Drake May, Jordan Love, Russell Wilson, decent quarterback room. At the running back position, Brian Thomas, Tank Bigsby, and really no one else to talk for, but that's okay. I see a draft capital. You can start in rolling deep. 6 wide receivers, T. Higgins, Shakira. And honestly, those are the only 2 players I'm comfortable telling you to start on a week-to-week basis. I'm not a big Jalen Coker believer, but you have no other depth. But you're in full rebuild, like you said, with Pat Frymuth and Hunter Henry. But you do have 1, 2, 3 first-round picks in this year. You have 2 first-round picks in 2026.
Yeah, I would rather have a Dunze for sure. Looking back, definitely think he would have fit your timeline better.
Yeah.
But we can't go back and change that now. I do think Higgins is a prime in-season sell for you.
Yeah, I agree.
We can talk about what you could sell him for right now, but it's gonna have to be higher than the 106 because you already have the 106 and the 107. We're definitely not selling him for the 108 prices. So we can talk about that. Very clearly a full rebuild, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're probably on the same page here, but I don't think this is even a 1-year punt away. It could be, but I think it's more full rebuild with Shakir as your wide receiver 2, Bigsby as your running back 2, Pat Frymuth as your tight end 1. So I definitely think this is more full rebuild than anything. He says, I'm a Coker believer, and I love it. He says, I believe I'd like to build around May. I was thinking Shakir and Higgins were better in-season trade options. I enjoy the full rebuild. Yeah, they very well could be.
Yeah.
I came out with a video. Actually, I had back-to-back videos where I highlighted the Bears receivers, DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, and I think they're both really good buys. But Higgins, you should be able to sell him to a contender in a start 11 pretty easily in season. Like, a lot of people should be focused on guaranteed production in a league like that. But your starting lineup, it's really not worth going through because there's a lot of holes here, right? I mean, you're going to find very quickly this lineup is nowhere near ready to compete. Draft capital grade, I would say, is pretty good. I'm going to say A flat. He's got 2 firsts in 26. I wonder if he has any picks in 27 that are beyond his own. But overall team grade, we got a while to go here. Probably C flat. C minus. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll do C flat. Just including the draft capital, 226 first. I'll give you a C there, and having T and Shakira to sell. I'm a big Shakira guy. I think there's going to be an opportunity. I think there's going to be an opportunity for you to sell him in season, and you're going to get tremendous value, in my opinion, out of that.
In start 11, you can definitely sell him. As far as
Yeah.
untouchables, you don't have one. That's going to be your future first-round picks. As far as holds on this team, I'm going to go with names like Jalen Coker. I still think Kendre Miller's a hold with a coaching staff that actually isn't, for some reason, like has a vendetta against him. So I'm gonna say Kendre Miller is a strong hold for you as well. As far as drops, you can definitely drop Sterling Shepard at this point, my friend. You can move on whenever you feel comfortable doing that. I also think you can drop Javon Baker if you wanted to as well. Waiver wire pickups, I think Elijah Mitchell is definitely someone you should pick up just to sell in season if he gets an opportunity. Devon Vele, De'Ami Brown are also worth picking up as well off your waiver wire for sure. Scribble says Coker is untouchable. So, have we done all admin?
That is all admin here.
All right, let's get to the meat of this. Let's get your protein in here. This is where things are going to start to turn around for us with this draft class. So, at the 102, I'm definitely going to suggest a tear down.
Yep, I agree.
100%. I'm going to suggest a tear down, which I've been suggesting all offseason. And, for some reason, people have been against that. Mainly Tet McMillan, but 106, 107. It's kind of, and I like Tet McMillan as well. Like, I think it always comes off as if I don't, but I do like him a lot. But I think there's like a good, like we said earlier, like a group of 10 players you could really justify going at the 102, depending on how the draft goes. I'll add Igbuka to this as well. He recently joined that tier 1 for me after his pro day. Wish he did it at the combine. I really think if he did what he did at his pro day at the combine, he would have locked himself into round 1 for sure. I did think JSN was a better athlete than him. And JSN did test at the combine, so that holds a little more weight for me. But Igbuka tested better at his pro day. I don't know. I just, if you think you could have done that, why didn't you just do it at the combine? It would have helped you a lot to do what you did at the combine. I just don't get it.
Is it really like, I guess does it really matter where or when it happens if he was going to test it? I absolutely think it does. I mean, you talk to guys around the league who are, talking to scouts every day, and they said specifically this class, there is no Marvin. There is no Neighbors. There's no guy that you're watching film and you say, I don't need to see anything from you. This class specifically, everyone that I've heard in this industry has said, we wanted to see them compete at the combine. No more of this like, I've already proven enough. Well, you haven't in this class. You haven't. I guess it's kind of a risk though, because if you do go out and test on the combine and no one's there and you have the worst time, like I guess do people, because sure, numbers are fluctuated at your pro day.
Yeah, but people don't take serious pro day numbers versus the combine.
Sure.
Right, which is why no one agrees that Tet McMillan ran a 4.48. Arizona can report that. Nobody believes it, right? Mm-hmm. And, so I do think it matters personally, but I hear where you're coming from. I guess I think it matters this year more than most years.
It sounds like it's in my mind, if I was to make Igbuka, it's risk aversion. Like, why would I put myself out there? I'm just going to do it and where I feel comfortable. If no one else is truly competing for it, like I'm just going to completely avoid it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think there's any receiver in this class that was worthy of saying, you know what, I don't need to show you anything. You do.
Yeah.
You actually do need to show us something. I don't know why you think you're a Marvin Harrison prospect, a Malik Neighbors prospect. Hate to tell you, but you're not. You do need to prove something to my organization. That's just what I've heard. But anyway, we're getting on a rant that really doesn't even matter, does it? For this team, you strictly are going to go best player available. Best player available at every single pick. Landon says, my biggest question is, since I am committing to a full rebuild, thoughts on drafting running backs early? Yeah, and I will say this always, and I don't care if you're a rebuild. I don't care if you're a contender. I will always, always, always say this. Never, ever, ever in a rookie draft based off of a need, or you always go best player available. Yeah. Even if you don't want to build around the players that you're drafting, you have still like 5 months to trade them before the season starts. And you don't even need to trade them before the season starts. You can hold them and trade them in season, So, yeah, always. Even a contender, right? Imagine the people last year, and you and I were a little bit surprised that Jonathan Brooks was going ahead of a lot of these guys in rookie drafts. And we like Jonathan Brooks, to be clear. We were not out on him. We were not geniuses about the situation. We really liked him, but we were surprised that people were taking Brooks and Benson ahead of a lot of these round 1 receivers. And a lot of people were doing it because they said, my team is complete. I just need a running back. Well, the hit rates on the Trey Benson in round 3 tell you don't draft him over these round 1 receivers, and those people will tell you today that they regret doing that, obviously. And no one could have projected what will happen. I still think Trey Benson can hit. Anyway, I don't want to waste your time, but you get what I'm saying.
Anyways, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, truly best player available at all these picks. Like if you walked away, remember it's a super flex start 11. If you walked away with a Hampton, then you came back and you grabbed Henderson and you finished on Ibuka or whatever, I don't care. It's truly best player available all the way through. And I also would say that, the tight ends are up for grabs here as well. Let's assume that McMillan and Hampton are gone here. The Loveland, the Warren are definitely in play here as well. With your league being start 11, these tight ends are going to be tough to come by.
Yeah, they will.
And you have a premium in your league too. So 100% those guys are up for grabs as well at those picks. So yeah. All right, let's take the idea of tiering down, but I also want to say guys that we want to trade away, like Brian Robinson. We'd probably love to move off of. Yeah. T. Higgins we can talk about.
Yeah, T. Higgins. I mean, you can do Shakir in season.
That's probably it. Russell Wilson, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably Russell. Yeah, Russell's a good one.
Okay, cool. So, let's start with the tier down here. Let's look at the 103. Let's go from the top to the bottom here and find these picks. So, for example, we have the...
Jay Pender is 103, I think.
The 103 with Jay Pender. So, with this team, did I just exit out of your team? Okay, no, I didn't. I was like, what in the world happened? Okay, so they have the 203. They have a Dunze. You just gave them a Dunze, though, if we remember properly. I'd love to get my hands on, like, a Lave somehow in a deal like this.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of what I was thinking.
I think, obviously, you think the 102 and the 206 for the 103 and Olave?
I mean, you would hope so.
Yeah. Olave's hard to sell for a late first right now in a lot of leagues, so I think that's probably an option to try. You're not going to get a Dunze. I think Worthy's too pricey in the market right now. Kincaid isn't worth tearing back for. And I don't think I would do the 203. I'd rather have the power of the trade in draft than that, so...
I think it just depends on the fall off, right? Like if day 2, you can kind of get a gauge of what that looks like in the NFL draft, and those guys don't have the value, then like if you can send that before your rookie draft, 100%. Because I think as much as I'm excited for day 1, I think day 2 is going to be even bigger for a lot of these prospects, obviously. So
yeah,
keep that in mind.
Landon, I don't remember that trade off the top of my head, but okay, so this guy traded for Olave today. Doesn't mean he's not open to moving him, but you could also try these trades more when you're on the clock as well. You'll probably maximize a trade down when you're on the clock. I assume you have a slow draft or you're doing the land method. Either way, you'll have an opportunity to tear down on the clock. I think even on the clock, I didn't really want to suggest this, but you can probably try and get a future first in some scenarios when you're on the clock. When people are like, oh my god, I do want Tet, he went as exactly where I wanted him to get, and he's in a tier of his own. That's not always going to happen though. Let's look at the 104 here.
Team 9.
So names like Keon Coleman don't make it worth it. Benson, it's just not worth it. I do like Benson as a buy. You don't need to buy Walker Mixon. Devonta Smith, he's probably not going to agree to that, but
he won't.
Maybe the same structure as the Olave deal with Devonta.
Yeah.
And then you sell Devonta in season.
Yeah, you could sell Devonta in season. I'll be okay with that if you can get that done.
It's not ideal. I'll be honest with you. You don't have an ideal tear down yet. Like, let's be fully transparent here. The 105. This could work. This team is not very good. I'd love to get their future first. I'd love to get either their 26 or 27 first. I prefer 27, as we all know. I've made that very clear on the channel. But it wouldn't stop me if it was just a 26 first. You could also... I don't really think you can get Marvin. But let's just entertain it. Like, for example, you go down, you grab Marvin Harrison, right? But you send the 107. Does this make sense? Hold on, let me think about this for a second.
I mean, it just really depends on how people view Marvin. And right now, there's like a mixed review on him. There was a report that said today that came out. I don't know how legitimate it was. It was on JPA talking about how they regret not taking Malik.
Yeah, I mean, they should.
100%. I'm glad they took him because Giants would have had Marvin.
Yeah, you guys.
And we would have been even.
Marvin's still going to be good, by the way.
I think so. I think so as well.
He's
I don't
still
know
going to be great. He definitely didn't play up to his potential, and I think I've said this so many times, but the whole narrative that's all on Kyler Murray is just stupid to me. If you actually watch Marvin, you're like, what the heck? You did not live up to your expectations there, Marv, and I'm sure he knows that. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this type of deal. I'm fine to buy on a Marvin there. Without that 102 tear down, you have no ability to buy Marvin in most leagues. So maybe you can add on the 205. You will know your league a little bit better than us. You'll know the flexibility of your league. Can you add the 205 onto this? Is that possible? Is it not? Can you add more? You'll know. Unfortunately, you don't have that many great tear down options. Here's what I'll say. I am not in this league particular with the pure true rebuild ahead of us. I'm not opposed to going down to the 108. I'm really not. And I think you can maybe net a huge return. So that is Jay Hano. We don't really want their future picks because they look like they're going to be a good team. Ayuk is not enough to do it, but... London for sure. I just don't.
I feel like that's the only route you can go.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that though.
Everyone else is a huge tear down.
Okay, that's not going to work. How about the 109? The 109 could definitely work. I'm thinking 109 Rice Pearsall.
109 Rice Pearsall.
I think that could genuinely work.
Yeah, that could work for just the 102 though, right?
Yeah.
We're not giving anything else. Okay, good.
I think that would be a great idea for a team like this. And again, it needs to be well worth it if you're going down that far. I think in your scenario,
you get depth as well.
It is. It
especially
really
in a start 11, so you get that depth.
Yeah.
You get 2 wide receivers of the future, one in year, both of the guys in year 2 actually.
The good news about this being a start 11 is Brian Robinson actually has some trade value. So let's sort by running back strength in your league, and let's go down to these 4 teams that really need help. So that 205 I think is doable in your league.
Yeah.
You know, I think you and I would love to grab the 205 in a lot of leagues if possible from Brian. The 203 is there. Obviously, we'd be willing to do that. You know, let's see. Team F me. What about like a Benson 304? I mean, I would even do Benson straight up. I don't know about you.
I would do Benson straight up. 100%.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense for your rebuild. You're not. I mean, look, we know what Brian Robinson is. You really going to be concerned about letting go of
an absolute dog?
Maybe the RB 35 this time next year. You know what I mean? If you think you can extend it to grab that 304 somehow, I'm not going to say no, but I also don't think you really need to push it. This guy's got the 208. I wonder if we could net like the 208 and McMillan somehow, or Pittman. I think trying to buy those guys on a low, and then we would send back the 307, and we can also add the 402 onto that.
You can add. Yeah, you mean.
Right, and that's for both of those guys, McMillan and Pittman. And those are the main teams, I'd say. We also wanted to look at a Higgins, so let's sort by wide receiver strength here. Esburn is the most obvious candidate here. The issue is they really don't got nobody we want.
Nothing.
What about a Waddle 111? I don't know.
Nah, I'm not in love with it.
Not ideal, is it? Maybe you wait until in season. Let's look at some of these other teams. Well, if you could turn him into Marvin, would you do it?
Yeah, I would.
So that's an obvious one.
Just trying to get young here. You head off golf.
Yeah, I don't think there's another team that makes sense. Maybe Team F me, but they have Chase, so yeah, that's not going to work. But let's just say you already have the 106, 107. Yeah, Higgins is probably more of a hold for you after looking at your league.
I would agree. Selling season, that might be even tougher.
What about Shakir? Like in a league like this, start 11, people might be willing to pay for production that isn't top end. Like, can you get the 111 from that bottom team?
I think you can. I'm a big Shakir guy. I don't think they're gonna draft him the wide receiver. I could be wrong.
Could you get Downs in like the 209 or something, or Downs in the 207? I would do that.
Yeah, I agree. Shakira.
Is there any team that doesn't have a first and 26 that's like really in right now? Let me see. For example, Jay Hanu has Ayuk. Ooh, could we turn Shakir into Ayuk? You might be able to do that straight up.
Just depends.
Yeah.
I think it really depends.
If he's worried about his start to the season and he wants to compete, maybe.
I guess like if you to get the deal done, I'm happy to do the thirds.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know.
I'd also probably be willing to send him away for the 201, which someone has here.
Yeah.
And then Russell Wilson, I would say any second in any year is going to be just fine for us to sell him for. So this is the package. Shakir and Robinson for Ayuk. Don't hate it. I wonder if we could maybe net something else in that though. So yeah, that 406 isn't great. Could you grab Jalen Wright in that deal? Could you grab Isaac Correndo in that deal? Then yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna be okay with that as well. Appreciate you, Landon. Please continue to drop any last minute questions. I'll let you know that you should be receiving your playbook within 72 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message System. Thank you so much for the support. Honestly, huge supporter. But throw it in. Throw any last minute questions.
Russ for a second in 2029. Honestly, I would take it. I would take it. Trying to catch up with the chat here. He said Jay Hano is interested in Robinson. So yeah, that's why he was bringing up that deal. Yeah, Ayuk would be awesome. But yeah, any of those deals we talked about, I think will work just fine. We'll wait to see if you have any more questions there. Trying to catch up with the chat here. A lot of people feeling shaky on Marv right now. I have been capitalizing on that. Chase and Breaker says traded Kyron and JMO for Marvin Daniel Jones last week on a rebuilder. Scribble says he's going to be so good. Wyatt says they compared Marv to old man Marv in their first seasons and they're almost identical. I don't know how helpful that is though, because where was Marvin Harrison drafted?
I mean, didn't he go straight with Peyton? Or am I tripping there?
Was Marvin Harrison, I can't remember that far back. Was he a first round pick himself? Because if he was, then it is helpful. Yes, he was. So I take that back. However, the stats that a rookie wide receiver put up in 1996, let me tell you something. You had far less expectations in 96 than you do in 24. Landon says, thank you both. I watch all your videos daily. I appreciate you, man. That is very kind of you to say and awesome to hear. And no worries, man. I'm glad this was helpful. Like Badaki said, you're going to get your team playbook within the next 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours. It'll be customized to everything that we talked about today. And yeah, you'll have that available to you. We did just get another team review. So this is the last one, at least for today. We just said that about Landon's there. But this is potentially the last one for today. We have one spot left for a same-day live review. You guys can check out the pinned comment if you want to go ahead and get one. There's a link both for an a la carte purchase and to become an annual Mother Flocker member where you'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock site. Please feel free to ask us any questions whatsoever about that if you want to get that last spot for today's same-day review. But Travesty 19, are you in the building? Are you in the building, Travesty? Chase says, I think Arizona needs a offensive coordinator change. TD says, if Travis goes to the Browns, are you taking him over Tet or Luther? Let me just say this. I am releasing my final rookie rankings on Thursday. And I'm making some calls. All right? We're making some shots. We're making some calls here, okay? So
making some calls, making some shots, taking some shots.
That is coming out soon. That's all I'll say.
If Travis goes to the Browns, are you taking him over Tet? I'll tell you what. You can wait for Zach's. I ain't got no video coming out. Who's the quarterback? I think what I need to know is where is Tet going?
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest thing. So, in your world, TD, Travis goes to the Browns. Where's Tet going? Now I'll answer your question. Anyways.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Travisy. Thank you so much for submitting.
Yeah. Is Travisy in the building? Because we always love to review these with you guys live. Let us know if you're here, man. No pressure. If not, we'll get to this either way. Let's go ahead and get started here. And again, check out the pinned comment if you want to take that last spot for today's stream. And if you're watching this later, now's a great time to submit your team because you will end up being first on the queue.
Please jump in at any time. He is here. Thank you so much for the support. This is a 2 quarterback 10 team start 8. This is a heavy hitter, if I'm not mistaken. Heavy hitter. A very small lineup here in a 10-man league. Oh, start 9? So it's not heavy hitters, meat and potatoes?
Did he say start 9? Okay, so start 9 super flex. That's meat and potatoes. Still a small lineup though.
Still a small lineup. 2 flex. Okay, that's fair. All right, let's have a read of this context. By the way, according to this, you're currently ranked 10th out of 10. According to Zach's rankings, which is very interesting. And the context says, Reese building, looking for advice for my picks. Also advice on what to do with good players I still have. I also have 4 27 firsts and a second.
That would have probably helped your ranking a little bit if we had the 27 picks included, by the way. Okay. Right? That would have improved you a little bit. But Yeah, clearly we know when you're at the bottom of the league and you've got almost 10,000 less overall points than of value than the next team. It's going to be a rebuild. So let's have a look at it here. Go ahead.
Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, good quarterback room. I think we could potentially move on from some of these older quarterbacks potentially to get some more capital if we can.
It's a quarterback room for sure.
Yeah, it's a quarterback room. Isaac Correndo, and really that's it. Marshawn Lloyd, Elijah Mitchell, that's it. At the wide receiver position, you can start up to 4. You're starting 4. Wilson, Shakira, Tank, and Colker. With David Njoku and Brenton Strange. But you have the 104, the 110, 201 to 204, and you have 1, 2, 3 picks in 2026. You have James Rich and Mr. Grumpy. So top 3 pick, and then Mr. Grumpy, which looks like you're going to be running in the running for potentially. He has a 101 actually, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
he can be a contender if he really wanted to.
I just wanted to quickly let TD know. Hey, just email us your playbook and your playbook number. There should be a code at the top right, and Badaki will have a look at that for you.
Yeah,
and give us all that information.
Appreciate you, TD. Yeah.
By the way, Landon says just got a trade offer from Jano. He says Higgins and Robinson for the 108 Ayuk and a 26 second. Nah.
Okay, just got an offer from Higgins and Robinson for the 108 Ayuk and a 26 second. I mean, what's T. Higgins worth? The 106, 105?
104, 105, yeah.
Would you want a 26 second? If I remember correctly, Lando, is that the same guy that had like the Josh Downs and like these lower tier guys? Like,
no, he has Ayuk, Godwin, Boutte. I don't really want a 26 second.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I was like, did he have the Downs, like some low, the McMillan, something along those lines?
He has no one interesting. That's why I said Jalen Wright, Isaac Correndo. If you can make sure it's not his second and also add a Horrendo or a Wright, I'm not opposed to it. I'll say that.
What's happening, Steven? How you doing, brother?
All right, let's. All right, so a lot of work obviously to be done here, right?
A lot of work here, Dynasty.
Again, this is one of those. This is one of those teams where it's kind of pointless to talk through a starting lineup because there really isn't one, and he knows that. Travis T is a very veteran Dynasty player. He knows that this team has got a lot of work ahead of it, and he would be aware of that. Overall team grade, let's be honest, this is probably in the. It's closer to D plus than it is a true C.
Yeah, I'm giving it. I think it's a D plus.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there's only 3 people on this team that you can work with for the future.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
I'm gonna probably say full rebuild.
Full rebuild.
What's up, Barry? Says I'm debating buying a review. Is there a difference in price if I bought the Flock membership versus just a team review? Just quickly, I will say Badaki and I will always say that we think that the annual membership is worth more bang for your buck.
Exactly.
And I will just say, if you get the annual membership, you get our 2025 rookie report, you get the Dynasty playbook, right? You get a voucher that will make the offline one free. The live one after your annual membership will only be $7 for the upgrade, but you get the free trade question voucher. You get a free start sit voucher. You unlock all of our rankings, all the premium tools and databases on the website, all the articles, draft guides, etc. You unlock our Discord as well, which has got some cool features coming and already implemented. So I would definitely say the annual membership is the best bang for your buck, but it's completely up to you. Annual membership is $97, which comes out to about $8 per month. And if you're not a member, I think the live review is it 80 something? I can't remember.
I think it's 89 if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Like that.
But yes, you just get a lot, like Zach said, just in anything, right? You want to get more bang for your buck. So we would recommend that. So, but no pressure. Either way, we appreciate you and coming in, supporting, asking the question. Bears, thank you so much for even being here.
Okay, so we said D plus.
Yeah, D plus.
Draft capital grade though, I would say A flat.
Yeah,
with
I
the
give it an A.
27 first round picks he's building up there.
Yeah, I agree.
There are no untouchables. They are your draft picks, right?
Exactly. 2026
your
and
own
2027.
draft picks should not be moved whatsoever under any circumstance. The holds on this team are going to be a Jalen Coker and Isaac Horindo. I really like holding those two names. A Brenton Strange I could add to that. I would also say, Boutte is also worth holding, I'd say, for sure. Drops, you can drop plenty of names like Bobo. I know he's got a potential opportunity ahead of him, sure. Hyatt, you can drop. Stone Smart, Eric, all these guys are all droppable. Hunter Henry at some point, too. On your waiver wire, there really isn't anyone. Jalen Tolbert, that's a name you could pick up for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So, is there any admin that we haven't done? This is very clearly a rebuild. We know that.
Yeah, very clearly. Yeah, no, we are all set. Continue. Chalkboard.
We did just get your live review there, Sauce. So that's awesome, man. Appreciate you.
Come on, Sauce. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, let's go to the chalkboard, shall we?
Love, brother, love. Yes, chalkboard.
This is the protein. This is your meat of this playbook, right? This is
the war room.
Yeah, this is how we're gonna try and turn the ship in the right direction here. At the 104, you've got this just massive range of players. Unfortunately, you're not high enough to really consider a tier down at this point. You're kind of in a position where you're comfy. You're kind of snuggled up into your what is it? What do they call it? What's that?
Blanket?
Well, it's a blanket, but it's like you wear it. Snuggie? Is that what it is?
Oh,
Snuggie?
yeah, Snuggie. Yeah.
At the 201, you're going to be in this position where one of these guys are going to be a great value, a Hunter, one of these tight ends, Golden, Igbuka, Sanders, Johnson. One of these guys are going to end up being really great values. At the 204, you're kind of probably targeting these running backs that we love, whoever gets great draft capital. At the 210, you're going to be in position to maybe take an Arroyo or one of those Iowa State wide receivers, Royals, Samson, one of these guys that we love, but true BPA across the board, especially in a rebuild like this. Unfortunately, there's not really any reason to explore tear down because the 104 doesn't have the same power as the 102 or the 103.
Just trading some of these vet players here, I think it's probably the key thing at the right time, right price, maybe.
Yeah. So we think Geno Smith for sure.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
Shakira. I think you can even throw David Njoku in there. By the time you're competing, he's going to be Mike Gesicki potentially as well if you really wanted to, whatever you can get for him. I guess, if you really want to go down the line, Deontay Johnson, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, I guess there's no reason to sell Tank Dell. I was thinking about Tank Dell, but I guess there's no reason.
Yeah, you can wait for him.
Yeah. So, ideally, we find a team that is quarterback needy. It's going to be tough in a 10 team, though.
Exactly.
You're in a little bit of a difficult position here. So, Captain Kirk, for example, look, they could use a third quarterback, but they really don't have a need. We can't really sit here and say they have a true need. But the 203 potentially for Sam Darnold would be ideal. And I don't even mind sending the 304 on top of that. Because remember, this is a 10-team league. Yeah. So that's important to remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep in mind, like, you sell one of these guys, obviously, as soon as you possibly can, or in the off season, or in season, excuse me, when one of those starting quarterbacks goes down. Josh Allen misses 5 games. They need a quarterback. So,
James Rich really doesn't have anything to offer you, unfortunately, for these guys. Mr. Grumpy has plenty of quarterbacks Philly Hot Runner could use a number 2 quarterback, so I'm thinking like a Downs 207 play here for a Darnold.
Yep, I like that.
Now, we're going to have to give back probably, the 304. I also think you could just sell Geno Smith straight up for the 207 probably. That's like the 205 in this league anyway.
Sure, yeah.
So that could work. Rich Gang could use a quarterback 3. They have the 206. I'm fine with that as well for Geno Smith.
Yeah,
I might do that for the 206 as well. For Darnold, sorry. That's the 203. I think I'm willing to do that. Straight up.
Yep, I'm there with you.
Low key could be your most ideal partner here, actually. He has a 202. So this is another scenario where we would try and send that third to get that 202. You could also try and find a way to wiggle into Jordan Addison, maybe. And that deal, you'd probably have to send Darnold and the... I don't know if the 210 gets it done. Maybe that's your starting point.
Or for the 202, yeah.
Oh, for Addison, sorry.
Or Addison, ooh.
You might have to do the 204. At that point, you might as well hold.
Yeah, I think you have to do a little bit higher. I would hold, though.
So if that's not going to work, then you can hold. And those are pretty much your main options there. No one else is really a good fit. I mean, I'll say Ricky Pearsall could make sense as well for either of these names. I would do it for Darnold. I would do it for Geno as well. So those are probably your most ideal fits. Unfortunately, again, you're in a league that really doesn't need quarterback. 10 team. Quarterbacks are going to be comfortable on most of these rosters. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can review a best ball league. That's fine. We've done that plenty of times in the past, my friend. All right, let's find a Shakir trade. Again, 10 teams is going to make it harder, but it is still possible. Let's find a contending. So Captain Kirk comes to mind.
Yeah, Captain Kirk. Yeah, I see.
That could be perfect, actually. The 203 could be perfect with that team.
Yep.
What do you think about a... Could we get our way into the 109 if we sent back the 210 or something?
What else does this guy have?
Yeah, I don't think you have many options outside of that.
Maybe you can do one of those quarterbacks. I feel like that brings more value. I could be wrong. I know he has 3. He has Kirk Cousins. Like in reality, hypothetically, Aaron Rodgers retires. He doesn't have a starting a QB3.
Yeah.
Can he use Sam Darnold and Shakir to get to the 1-9? That's how I would see it.
I think that's an overpay, personally.
Okay. So we need something in return.
Yeah. The 203 is going to be hard to ask for there.
Yeah.
Maybe you ask for Isaiah Pacheco, and then you just try and turn him in season if he ends up panning out. Okay. Let's see. I think those are your main options here. I mean, I'm not opposed to like the 205 either, like 205 and Jalen Wright.
Yeah.
Kind of just adding some young assets that haven't really had a chance to produce yet. 202 is perfect as well, obviously. You know, let's say that. But yeah, going to be tougher to sell. I think Njoku, oddly enough, is probably going to be the easiest for you to sell in this league.
Most likely.
Let's look at Mayhem here, who has Kelsey. So, can we get our hands on the 108? Probably not in this league, especially not with this class. 208 and 209 is not enough in a premium.
Running backs to offer.
We could send away our 210 and ask for a future first. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
From Mayhem there. The guy with Kyle Pitts is a 205. That's a much better meeting point.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
That would be perfect. I think it makes sense for both parties. 202 is probably too high. 206, I think I would do as well. Totally open to that as well.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft, they're probably not interested. Kittle. Yeah, I think now we're not going to find another owner. Only other thing I would say is Mike Gesicki. I would say any second in any year is fine. And ideally, you're going to have to probably do that in season. Let's say T. Higgins goes down for a couple weeks, like he did last year. You can maybe find an owner there. Look, there's no way around it. You're in a tough spot. But the draft capital that you have in 2027, I think that's probably your year where everything turns around. In an ideal world, you will have sold Geno, Darnold, Shakir, and Njoku by the time we look at this team next year. Travis D here says Big O wanted Garrett Wilson. He's going to have to pay up. Who's Big O? I don't see Big O. Do you?
Do you see anything? Yeah.
That's probably their username. What's their team name? Yeah.
Nextman is probably the guy, team 1.
What's up, Blue Dodger? I would not trade Jeremiah Smith away, personally. You're probably looking at Nico Collins, worst case scenario that you could get in the league. Amon-Ra, that type of name. Mr. Grumpy. Mr. Grumpy wants Garrett Wilson.
He has Marvin.
Yeah, it's kind of a lateral move. It doesn't really achieve a ton, but
it's not much. But that, I mean,
could you get Marv in the 107? No. Most people are gonna have Marv ahead of him anyway. He probably wants to keep Marv too. What about Olave 107?
Straight up for Garrett, I think that feels like a lot. Maybe it's not.
I don't know. I've got people all over Twitter saying that Garrett Wilson's worth the 103 this year. But we can offer back the.
He said he offered 107 in a second.
210 maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. He offered 107 in a second.
Well, no, 107 is in the second is no. There's just no point in you making that trade. That's stupid. It's a terrible offer.
If he's offering you that, I doubt that he's going to do Olave.
I doubt he'll do Olave, yeah. That's the only way around it is an Olave tear down. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense with him.
I agree.
Yeah. Let us know if you have any last minute questions here, Travesty, though. It was fun reviewing the team. I'm sorry we didn't have more positive news, but you knew that coming in that was going to, it's going to take a while for us to get to a place.
It's going to take a while, yeah. But we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. And you should be receiving your playbook within 72 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message System with everything that we drew up for you here today. Thank you so much, Travesty. Huge supporter, long-time supporter.
Yep.
Not mistaken, in a couple of our leagues as well. So love. So Wilson for 2 seconds.
2 firsts.
2 firsts, excuse me. I'll be happy with 2 firsts, just depending on who. Is that Mr. Grumpy's 2 firsts? Well, he doesn't have 26 first.
Yeah, 26 is not a class that entices me. I'd rather it be like a player I like in a 27 pick, a 27 first. The 26 class is just not something I'm really that interested in investing in, but like an Addison in a 27 first, a Rice in any first would be easy. Jameson, Pearsall. I'd rather do Pearsall in a future first, 27. But again, if you're getting it from this team, there's no point. This team is probably going to be a late first. So I don't mind it, but it needs to be from a team that is clearly not like the number one overall team, right? Where you're getting like the 111 each year for Garrett Wilson. It's just not going to be worth it in that scenario. I don't think.
I agree.
But
Completely agree.
But yeah, we're gonna mark that complete. But please let me know if you have any questions here. I'm still here with you. We are still amongst the grind here as Sauce submitted a team for submission here. What's up, Sauce? He says, fuck it, we ball. I love that. No worries, Travis D. Appreciate you, my friend. I'll say this just one more time for today's stream, but if you want your team playbook, which is a customized game plan for your offseason, if you get the live version, we'll do this live review, and then you'll get this graphic afterwards. All you need to do is become a LAND, promo code LAND annual Mother Flocker member. That will give you a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. You can choose Team Review, choose Fantasyland. The offline review is free with your voucher. The live review is only a $7 upgrade. And yeah, if you're not a member, you can still purchase a team playbook from us. It's just the same process, but you have no voucher, right? So yeah. Travis D says, I'll submit one of my good teams next time. Don't worry, man. Whatever is most helpful. You know what I mean? Whatever is the most helpful is what's important there.
Yeah, but we
Bears, I'm definitely open to it, man. Definitely open to it, depending on the deal. I wouldn't be opposed to sending those 26 first for 27, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, Raw Souls.
Okay. Raw Souls. I appreciate you, Souls. Thank you so much. You already know the deal. Jump in at any point in time. It's a 2 quarterback, 12 team start, 10 half PPR. This is middle ground, basically how all of our follower leagues are built as well, meaning you can start up to 5 wide receivers, but you're currently ranked 3rd out of 12, and you say, fuck it, we bull. Also, I have two 27 first, mine in the one from the worst team in the league in rankings. Okay.
Awesome.
So let's have a look at this team here.
Well, look at the team name.
Salt Lake City Soakers.
Yeah. Shout out to the Soakers.
That's how you get it done back in the day. Maybe it still's happening.
Yeah, you do a little soaking?
When I used to love the Lord. Nah, jokes.
Wow.
That's terrible.
Wow.
That's what people do, right? They soak because they love the Lord. So they're not actually doing that.
It's a Mormon thing, right? Like it happens a lot in Utah, from what I've heard.
Nah, so you're all good. Don't worry about it. It's all.
He says I apologize for team names in advance. Honestly, this is what our home leagues look like, so you're fine.
Yeah. Justin Herbert, JJ McCarthy, Daniel Jones. Good quarterback room for sure. At the running back position, CMC, Najee Harris, Nick Chubb. Okay, that's a little bit concerning. Actually, yeah, this is concerning because you have the 103. Going to be interesting. At the wide receiver position, you can start up to 5 wide receivers in this league. Malik T, Richie Rich, Roma Dunze, Tyreek Hill, or Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Shakir. I mean, phenomenal depth at the wide receiver position with Sam Laporta, Evan Ingram there as well. You do have the 103 and the 203.
No first in 2026 competitive roster, some older names, specifically in the running back and wide receiver room. This is the definition of a Windows open roster, right? Definition of a Windows open roster. There's quite literally no reason to not compete this year. You don't benefit from it. You don't have your first and second round pick in 2026. Let us know, Sauce, if you have your 27 picks. That would be interesting to note as well. What's up, Kev? Welcome in.
Yeah, he has 2, he says, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's right. What's up, Neezy? Welcome in.
How you doing, boys?
So, yeah, definition of a Windows open roster. No doubt about it. The untouchables on this team, Malik Neighbors. I'd say that's it. I don't think there's another untouchable. Now, as far as holds on this team, I think you got plenty of great holds like McCarthy, Rice, Adunze, another really, really great one there. Those are my main holds, honestly. Yeah, right. I think with your team having no clear quarterback 3, Daniel Jones is going to be in that category as well because you kind of need him to win that job.
Hey, come on, DJ. Getting on the holds, baby. We talk it up.
Yeah. As far as drops, you can drop plenty of names here. Zach Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill. These are all droppable names. Oh, it's nice you have Aaron Rodgers there. You need Aaron Rodgers to come back. Aiden O'Connell. All these guys are droppable. You can drop Luke McCaffrey if you wanted to clear space. You can drop Grant Calcaterra if you want to clear space. Wow, the depth of this wide receiver room is honestly incredible. I mean, all the way down to Debo, you got starters. We
Yeah,
can
legit.
definitely use this to bolster our running back room, right?
No question. No question.
I mean, let's assume he goes running back at the 103. Then you would have, okay, so Herbert, McCarthy, McCaffrey, 103, Neighbors, Higgins, Laporta. Then you would have like 4 wide receivers on your bench if everyone's healthy. So we definitely have flexibility there. On the waiver wire, it is butt-ass naked. Maybe you can pick up Sincere McCormick, but not much to talk about there. Overall team grade. This is not the quarterback room I would want if I had no picks in the future. I need to go out and compete right now. There's a lot of expectations on JJ. I'd rather have him as a 3rd or a 2 in a rebuild. Obviously, you need that 103 to be running back, and you're in this weird situation where you hope your league takes Ted McMillan so you can grab Hampton if he goes round 1. You know, you'd be in that weird position probably. I would probably lean like a B+ with that wide receiver room, the strength of that.
Okay, yeah. I was going to be flat. We can go B+.
Okay.
I'm happy with that. Draft grade, or draft capital grade, excuse me.
He says, been trying to move Debo for Mason while he's cheap, hoping to get Hampton at the 103 if he gets first round capital. Yeah, I obviously you may or may not have watched today's video, but I did talk about Jordan Mason as a buy. I've bought him in a couple of our leagues as well. I'll tweet out those trades tomorrow, but it's also on today's video that I just released, so could be worth a watch if you haven't given a watch yet. I'm definitely team Jordan Mason, and I like it. I would not be surprised if he ends up being a sneaky league winner this year. Okay. Let's be honest, though, Sauce, for a second. Debo Samuel is not attractive to people in a trade, okay?
Let's just be
You need to be realistic here. If you want to make a deal for a running back, it's got to be Shakir, Godwin, or Adams.
Or Adams, yeah.
I prefer to keep Adams, and I'm saying this because we're not going to sell your top 4. I prefer to keep Adams, so I think you're going to need to shop Godwin or Shakir. I don't think Debo, right or wrong, he's just not going to pull a trade for you. He's not going to make people interested. They're not really going to want to be a part of that right now. So it's got to be one of those 2 names, I think, to acquire running back. You could package multiple as well, by the way. You could also look... Okay, yeah. I'm just wrapping my head around everything. I apologize. You could also look at like an Evan Ingram veteran quarterback trade for a quarterback 3. We'll look at that in a second. And it's a tight end premium.
Going that route? Yeah, we can do that.
And then, yeah, we've done all admin, right?
Yes. Draft capital, great.
Oh. That's a weird one, isn't it?
It is a weird one. I was going to put like C-. You have a first.
Let's put C flat. Because he has 2 firsts and 27.
Sure. All right. And I think that's everything we needed for admin.
All right, so let's go to the chalkboard here. You're in a position where you really want to target a running back at the 103, but don't force it. If wide receiver is the best player, if quarterback's the best player, you know, it's a super flex 12-team start 10. You do need to go best player available still, and you can trade those players. You know, let's say you went Ward and you're like, I don't want a quarterback, or you went McMillan or whatever. You can trade those guys before the draft starts. At the 202, you're probably going to be in a position where you can target some of these names that we really like Giddens, Scadaboo, Tootin, Harvey. You can even throw in Travis Hunter there as well. Sauce says, so I had an offer for Debo straight up for Mason. Would you take that? I feel like he's worth more than that, but I think Mason owners has offered something similar. That's an interesting question. Debo for Mason straight up. It's probably pretty close in value.
For me, I would say no. I wouldn't want to keep Debo. I think
there's a potential counter there, though.
I think there is potential counter. It's not that I'm not a big Mason believer. I think he's going to have opportunity, I think long term, specifically in the next 2 to 3 years, Debo can still bring value. With Jaden Daniels, where I know Mason signed a 2-year deal with them. They can still draft a running back next year. I guess the same can be said with Debo. So, I would just keep Debo personally.
I think the counter to that for me would be Jordan Mason, the 201 for Debo Samuel and Khalil Shakir. I think that would be my counter for your team. That gives you Jordan Mason, and it also gives you the 201, which will have a ton of flexibility to either draft a Hunter, Golden, one of these tight ends, and then flip them into a running back should you so need. So I think that trade actually makes a ton of sense. And the guy needs wide receivers. So he's going to be looking at this as, I have 2 guys that can start now. I think that's actually perfect. That might be the best fit for any team we've come up with today, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
so yeah, that could make sense. But I want to look at wide receiver needy teams. Let's sort by wide receiver strength and go to the bottom here. Some of these names are actually crazy. A Josh Jacobs. Do you think we can package like Debo and the 202 and get to a Jacobs maybe? He's very cheap right now.
Debo Sam is a 2-2, and Josh Jacobs.
I also think Chuba Hubbard is on the table here. You have the 202. I think that's actually kind of perfect. Actually,
that is kind of perfect.
We've been talking about that all offseason. Chuba Hubbard as a buy low, so that could definitely work for you as well. I guess the Taylor owner could be interested if you went like, let's say,
what do you think?
You probably have to do Adams here. Adams in the 202. Do they need tight end? No.
For Jonathan Taylor, Adams in the 202.
We need to add something else, but that would be the meat of it. I would add Shakir as well if they wanted. You can't really offer your first, and most people are not going to accept that, but
no,
you have the depth to take that hit at wide receiver, and they need wide receiver desperately. They could probably replace Taylor in the draft. Oh wait, hold on. Kamara is interesting. So I'm thinking like a Shakir is probably worth more than Kamara right now, but I think we could probably take the hit on that. What do you think?
Care for
straight
Kamara. A straight up.
I think we can take the hit on that.
We can do that.
You could actually you just ask for Kamara and Kendre.
And Kendre, that's exactly what I was about to say. You ask for both and see what happens.
Yeah.
And that guy needs wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely does. Durka. We could try Durka. It would have to be like Godwin. Yeah, there's not a great fit there, is there? It'd have to be Godwin. Godwin 202. Is that an overpay?
Godwin 202 for Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Maybe.
That feels like an overpay for me. Godwin 202.
Okay, what if you did it for Chase Brown or James Cook?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's if Chase Brown doesn't lose his job.
I'd rather just go buy Chuba Hubbard cheaper.
I'd rather just go by exactly.
Yeah,
I'd rather just go by. I think ideas, that I feel like that is a must which sounds crazy. Like that's a must. I mean, maybe we can work up some more deals to get it done for Chuba.
I think that's just the most obvious one there. I wouldn't pay much more based off the market right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. You could. Yeah, I think Kamara is
honestly, that's probably the best move, Chuba, because if you get Chuba and then you do get Omarion, you don't have to move any of these other players. You could move them.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, for other pieces, like you could move the Godwin, Shakiras, the Debos if you really wanted to, but that just gives you the flexibility not to move them, right?
Okay. So he says the Kamara owner is probably not going to sell him. Totally okay. No harm in reaching out, but that's all right. I think Hubbard's probably your best move anyway. Yeah, trying to think like vets. We talked about Mason, Hubbard.
Well, he says,
What
this
Connor?
is 3 divisions out of 4. I'm division with Toast, the 10, and Disappointing. So what does that mean?
Yeah, that means it's going to be tough to make playoffs because
make playoffs, right? Trying to trade those players to those teams. Yeah, I get that.
What about James Conner? Who owns Conner? And they have Evan, so it'd have to be Shakir. What about Shakir for Conner in the 209?
Shakira for Conner in the 209.
We'll give them like Nick Chubb's probably not going to make a move there, but
yeah,
that's probably the most you could offer back is Nick Chubb, which is probably not going to make a difference, to be honest. That might not work.
Yeah.
The other thing you could try is like a Benson, right, which is the RB5 on Chromosome Collectors. So I think Benson could definitely be a play here as well. I think. What about like Benson, Godwin for Benson in the 204, and we send something else?
Godwin for Benson in the 204,
and we send back. We'd have to send something significant enough. Like it'd probably have to be Debo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could work.
So Godwin and Debo for Trey Benson the 204.
Yeah. We need to look at who needs a vet quarterback real quick as well for Evan. So who needs a tight end? Sorry, is what I meant to say. There's plenty of teams who need one. Stafford. Stafford's interesting. I don't know that I love it. This guy's got no third quarterback. What, you like Stafford?
I like Matthew Stafford. I feel like
who plays longer in the NFL, Ingram or Stafford?
No, for sure, I get that.
No, that's just a genuine question. I don't know the answer.
I would say Matt. Well, I would say Evan Ingram. Excuse me. But if you want a more solid QB2, like you said, over JJ in the 1 year here, I don't think Ingram's gonna gain tremendous value unless Bo takes him to the next level.
All right, let's do it. Let's go Ingram and Debo for Stafford and Connor. That accomplishes 2 of our goals.
Yeah, that works.
All right. Justin Fields, definitely. I definitely like that. Or Tua.
Yeah.
And they could use wide receiver help. So what if we did Ingram and Debo again is the play for, I mean, Justin Fields in a third or something?
Yep, that works.
Like the 301 actually works great. I'd also do that for Tua straight up. Don't need anything on top of it. So you've got a ton of options here, honestly. These names are wild.
I love it. Hilarious.
Um,
Even though we can't
the
say him.
I can't say him on stream, but well, the 103, you could also move it for a running back, right? That would probably be Devon Achane. In a lot of leagues, you probably can't get Saquon anymore, but you know he would obviously be perfect. You know, you can even add Deebo Samuel onto that or something if there's a contender who wants to move on from Saquon now. I'm not opposed to doing like a Bucky Irving plus as well. I know Badaki and I don't agree on Bucky, but if you get Bucky and like the 201, I definitely would do that, for example. So yeah, those are all your options, I'd say. But I think Hubbard makes the most sense. I really liked the Benson 204 deal as well that we cooked up. The Shakir Mason 201 deal I think I really liked. But those are plenty of ideas to try and get you kind of in that windows open, fixing that running back room a little bit for you. But please let us know if there's any questions that you have that we didn't answer. Sauce, we are here to help, hopefully.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. You should be receiving your playbook. You know the deal. Within 72 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system here. He says, "You already know I'm Team Scatterboo if I keep that 202." You love to see it. He might be going to the New York Football Giants. Nah.
Maybe.
We'll wait and see. He had a top 30 visit with the Giants. Doesn't mean he's going there, but you know what I mean. Just jokes. Yeah. But appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support.
Appreciate you big time, my friend. And that means for the first time, I can't remember the last time our queue's been empty like this. I feel proud of us for doing this.
I mean, yeah, we've been trying to keep up with the crew, so
I can't remember the last time this has happened, but the queue is completely empty, which is incredible. I love that.
And it's perfect time for tip-off as well, huh?
Is the national championship just starting?
It's just starting. I thought it'd been started, but unless the second half, and I'm tripping.
Oh, it is. It's halftime. Yeah.
Yeah, it was halftime. Maybe I just turned it on and I was like, they're about to tip off here. I was like, what the hell's going on?
But anyway, guys, it's a great time to submit a team. If you've been waiting to do so, you will be first on the queue. Like I said, you can become an annual member or you can just submit one a la carte, completely up to you. And last thing I will say is we will be live tomorrow. All right, doing some FastDraft Origin real rookie drafts, okay? Please come join us. We have a ton of fun doing these Origin drafts. We'd love to have you along with us. If you haven't done so yet, you can actually sign up to the FastDraft app. You can download it. You can sign up with the promo code LAND. You get your deposit matched up to $50. That is 10 free drafts on us when you complete your first contest, whatever contest you want to do. DM me. I'll send you my rookie report, season rankings, and a free trade question voucher on the Flock site. If you're a LAN member, you can check out the comment I just put in the chat. That little link tree there is available for you to sign up. But tomorrow, download the app now, have a little play, deposit, DM me, and tomorrow we will get into some drafts together and have a lot of fun. So we'll see you guys then. That is it for today, and nothing but love. See ya.
Love.